Well, somebody else who's going to be saying goodbye is the Nature Boy from the Observer that was dated July 1st. Now, remember, he's going to date these episodes or these issues about 5 days before he publishes them. So, the very day this is supposed to be in everyone's mailbox, July 1st, Flair's already gone. But here's the story that Dave wrote. In a story that was still up in the air as we're going to press, the future of Ric Flair in WCW is very much in doubt. According to 4 different sources, on Monday, during contract negotiations between Hurd and Flair's attorney, Dennis Guthrie, Hurd told Guthrie the company was giving Flair 30 days notice, and rumors began that Flair's final day with the company would either be July 14th in Baltimore or July 22nd in Los Angeles. As of Tuesday, Flair hadn't yet gotten notified by the office of his notice. Hurd denied the story and explained that two sides are simply trying to negotiate a contract extension from which all accounts would require Flair to take a huge pay cut from his 1-year contract, estimated at guaranteeing him between $700,000 and $750,000 per year, which wouldn't include additional income from his merchandising revenue. Flair is actually still under contract to WCW through June 1st, 1992. And according to Hurd, Flair has an escape clause in his contract that would allow him to quit, provided he gave 30 days written notice. Hurd said that WCW doesn't have a similar escape clause in the contract, which seems to mean the company can't legally give Flair notice without having to pay off the duration of the contract, although other sources say there are loopholes to the company's benefit. And you wrote in your book, Slobberknocker, My Life in Wrestling, that Hurd wanted changes and wanted younger and new stars and was developing it for the sake of change itself. And, of course, everyone knows Hurd wanted to change Rick's persona. He's talked a lot about, he made me cut my hair. He wanted to put me in an earring. And there is the famous talk of, he wanted to make me Spartacus. When we talked to Jim Hurd about that, he denied it and said that was silly bullshit around a booking table. What if, ha ha ha, cutting up with the guys. And I kind of believe that. I don't think there's a scenario where Jim Hurd ever actually wanted. I guess we should add context, because this is the era where Ted Turner is investing in movies. And a lot of people thought, well, that's fucking stupid. Who would pay all this money for these rights to these movies? But then, like The Wizard of Oz, when that played on TV in full color for the first time, people thought, oh, he's a genius. Yep. He was doing other movies like Gone with the Wind and a lot of others. Anyway, I'm saying all that to say, if he's investing in some of these classic movies, it's understandable that WCW, who also has programming on Turner stations, would be expected to cross promote. I went around the block twice there to explain. We created Oz. Dusty Rhodes pushed Oz out there. Of course, that was Kevin Nash under a goofy gimmick, but still, why would we randomly do that? Well, because Turner has the rights to the movie. So we get that. But even still, that seems like a gimmick or something you do for someone sort of coming up the ranks, not necessarily we're going to change Ric Flair and now call him Spartacus. That's not real. That's just funny. Ha ha.
Well, you're being realistic, and you're being, using common sense, which is the wrong elements to use when talking about WCW booking and creative.
Okay.
In 1991 or virtually any year, before Bischoff got the reins, I remember a series of meetings where Turner Home Entertainment and maybe another division wanted us to help increase the monetization of the Turner library. Look, you got to remember, they started a whole network of Turner Classic Movies.
Yes, it did.
It wasn't a throwaway. It's a big deal. And they thought that one way to help that would be to create some wrestling characters that identified with some of the movies in their big library. And they had the best movies ever made till that point. So I think that's what that was. And Hurd, of course, going overboard, wanted to make sure this thing was, hitting on all cylinders, was willing to, create one character and see if it gets over. We don't need this, and this, And all some of our themes of our pay-per-views were kind of Fantasy Island type bullshit. Not the show fantasy, but just crazy stuff. So I think that was an edict. See if you can figure out a way to, of course, he's not going to fall on his sword. So we don't have any ideas. Can't say that.
Right.
So I think that's what that was. It's just to try to integrate all the Turner properties. And you think about it like that, it's not a bad concept, but you still got to have the right character. Or like you said, it becomes funny, ha, and nobody gives two shits.
I'm going to stir up a hornet's nest here, but I do feel like we should just call a spade a spade. When Bret Hart refused to drop the title to Shawn Michaels at Survivor Series, a lot of people took issue with what Bret was doing and saying, oh, he's not doing business. And Bret was the babyface in that scenario. But a lot of people villainized him. But people said the same thing of Shawn Michaels. And Meltzer, for years, would say, Shawn never drops a belt. He'll lose his smile. He'll have to forfeit. He might never be able to wrestle again. Whatever it takes to not drop a belt in the ring. That was sort of the gist of a lot of the tone of the Observer at the time. And then, of course, there's the whole Jeff Jarrett situation where he's got the Intercontinental title and he's still got one date left on his contract. And Jeff Jarrett was the heel in that circumstance. But it feels like with this whole Ric Flair, Jim Herd thing, Flair is unanimously viewed as the babyface and Herd is the heel. And I think a lot of it comes down to, as you like to say here on the show, the cash and creative. In hindsight, did we get it wrong? Were we too hard on Herd? Or was Flair doing what was best for business? Was Flair being selfish? With the benefit of hindsight, do you view this any differently?
Not much. I think that both parties dropped the ball in not getting it solved.
Yeah.
Getting it solved before it festered, as they say in Oklahoma and Alabama. Roll Tide. It was like an open wound and it kept getting more infected. It never was going to heal at the rate and the route that this thing was taking. So they both got some explaining to do, so to speak. But Herd's problem was he was spouting off things in wrestling vernacular that if you knew anything about the business, you'd been around longer than a week or two, you knew that he didn't know what he's talking about.
Give me an example. Not a specific one, just make one up in the.
Well, I'll give you the Hunchbacks are a great example.
Okay.
They can never lose. Well, first of all, any gimmick that you have on somebody that makes them unbeatable is not a good gimmick. It's just not.
Ask Goldberg.
It's just not.
Yeah.
So I just think these two cats they're both so hard headed. They both believed in what they said and hurt himself by saying things like I was going to say that a veteran would talk about instead of coming up with ideas that were laughable. And you got to admit, two wrestlers with hunchbacks like they're in the Young Frankenstein movie, Igor. I got a lot of free time. So, they,
but now at the same time though, I mean, let's add context here. We've also got one of the greatest characters in the history of wrestling is an undead guy who can summon lightning and throw fire. And I mean, I'm just saying, he's going to tag along with a trio of vampires who drink blood. And we've also got a pimp character and a porn star character. I get hunchbacks are silly and they're stupid, but I'm just saying there's been a lot of successful, stupid shit in wrestling.
Yeah. But when you get to the degree that you can't be beat.
Yeah.
Because your shoulders can never be pinned because of your deformity. That to me takes you right off the edge into shit land.
Don't we all love summer vacation, relaxing, laying out by the pool, barbecues, hitting the beach, doing, well, nothing? Well, how about a summer vacation from your house payments? With SaveWithConrad.com, you can do just that. Reduce your monthly payments by making the equity you built up in your home work for you. You can roll together those high interest rate credit cards into one lower monthly payment and perhaps access some of that newfound equity to turn your house into your dream home with no money out of pocket. And how about this? You get to skip your next two house payments. That's right. You won't have to make your June or your July house payment. You're done until August 1st. Go right now to SaveWithConrad.com. Let my team run the numbers for you for free. There's no obligation, and if we can't help you save some cash, we won't waste your time.
And did I mention we're offering a 3-year guarantee right now? That's right. That means if at any point interest rates improve over the next 3 years, you get a free refi. That's right. No new lender fees from us. So you get to save money now without wasting money later when the rates improve on a whole second set of closing costs. Why not go to savewithconrad.com and get a guarantee? Save money now and save money later with your friend in the mortgage business. That's me, Conrad Thompson at savewithconrad.com. Shoot me an email at conrad@savewithconrad.com. Give us a call at 888-425-0105 or get yourself a quick quote. Even talk to a live person right now at savewithconrad.com. NMLS number 2129, equal housing lender. Let's take a summer vacation from house payments at savewithconrad.com.